Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Triforce podcast. It's 2023.
Oh my god!
We're
Oh my
here.
God.
I know we made it this far. Who could have thought? Who could have thunk it? Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
By the time this one goes out, this goes out, it'll be a little bit past. Everyone will be like, "Oh yeah, boring." Everyone will be used to typing 2023 into things. Or
Everybody's already
things.
done the 2022 death count. My favorite part of a new year. Everybody looks back, and you get that big Sergeant Pepper's style montage of all the famous people that passed away in 2022. More prominent ones right at the front, wearing bright blue and bright red Beatles style sort of thing. So this year it was the Queen. She was right in the front.
Her Madge, of course.
Yeah, and she was wearing her Beatles ensemble as well. So there you go.
We almost lost Jeremy Renner this year. Of course, was in a terrible snowplow accident.
Yes.
As I understand it, he was snowplowing, got out to talk to somebody, and the snowplow started to roll away or roll over.
Yeah.
And he got in it to try to stop it, and then got run over by his snowplow.
Yeah, you should never get in to try to stop an out-of-control vehicle, no matter how fast or slow it's going, right?
What if it was headed towards 5 people on a train track, and you either get in it and divert it and potentially injure yourself, or let it roll into 5 people?
I think the outcome is always going to be you're going to injure yourself. So I would say the best thing to do is to do like a cross my heart and hope to die, like a really quick one, like people do like on a plane or something when it's turbulent, and then just hope for the best. Hopefully that's just enough,
I think you'd go to prison though if they could prove that you'd left your snowplow in.
I don't think they'd send you if they saw you do a cross my heart, hope to die quick. Like if they check the CCTV footage and they saw that you were
objection.
I was doing a holy sign, Your Honor.
Well, he did cross his heart and hope to die, so he did all he could.
He did everything he should.
That's what it's called. What's it called thing when you do the sign? It's not called cross your heart.
It's called genuflecting, isn't it?
I think something like yeah.
I think mine's better, actually. I think mine's much better.
Do you think that he, because he's a superhero, he dived into the? Because you see some people react like instantly, like almost like subconsciously. They see something happen, they run in, and they can't stop themselves. Right? Other people look at the situation and like, I'm going to run away from this situation, and they run away. Right? Do you reckon like the deterministic nature of our world, like he was because he played a superhero, if instead he'd played like, I don't know, some different character, like a cowardly character, would he have run away instead?
It's hard to say. I think Jeremy Renner is he's done some brave things in his life, starting an app, the Jeremy Renner app. That was a brave decision.
He just called it that?
It was an app purely for sharing pictures and things of Jeremy Renner.
Oh, right.
As if there wasn't already, say, Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. This was the Renner app, or something like that. Now, we were talking about this when I was streaming the other day, and Jeremy Renner has been in some big movies. He's been in Oscar-winning movies. I still think if you showed a picture of him to most people, they would not necessarily know who he was. They'd be like, "Oh, he was a Hawkeye. Right. He was the bow guy in the Avengers movies," or they.
That's the only thing I know him from. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's it. I think if you're popular through superhero movies, that's I can understand that, because myself, I don't watch many of them. So if somebody is famous just through playing a superhero, the likelihood is I will not know who they are at all.
You know them from the superhero, but yeah. I mean, I always get which Chris it is mixed up, because there's like Chris Pine, Chris Pratt, there's a few other Chris's knocking about. So I know it's a Chris that plays Captain America, but I wouldn't swear to which one. Right?
No, it's not Chris Pratt, because Chris Pratt...
it's not Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt's the guy
Star-Lord
from Parks and Recreation.
Yes, but he's also Star-Lord in the same series of movies in the Marvel universe. So I know Chris Pratt from other things. But yes,
sorry, I was just trying to help you out.
No, that's fine. But it's just like Jeremy Renner is not famous enough to have an act.
Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth.
For him, yeah.
The
See, there's Evans and Hemsworth and Pine, right? So I think it's Chris Evans.
And Lovis,
but then when
I
hear Chris Evans, I think of Big Breakfast and TGI Friday and TFI Friday, I should say, and stuff like that.
Don't forget your toothbrush.
Don't forget your toothbrush. Those things. So Chris Evans is unfortunately
he was on Big Breakfast and TFI Friday. Man,
so
that guy had every weekday locked down pretty much.
Big Breakfast was his big break, if you like.
Yeah.
And then he left that, and they brought in Johnny Vaughan and Denise Van Outen. Yeah. You remember? And then he did TFI Friday, which was huge, and then he did Don't Forget Your Toothbrush. I think that was the order. And then he sort of, I think he was on Top Gear, isn't he? On Top Gear, but
he was.
His peak was in the 90s and early.
He did
noughties,
Top Gear for like a season after Clarkson and his goons left.
Yes, left is a good way of putting it.
Well, whatever. They got. Well, Clarkson himself got fired, and then more recently he got in some more hot water, didn't he? For some, he wrote like an article about Meghan Markle, I think, saying that they should shoot her or something. Yeah.
What a year it's been already.
I know.
We're only 5 days in.
Yeah.
So rich. Did you have a good break? Did you have a good Christmas and New Year?
Can I just make a request?
What you guys
He's
were
requesting.
Up to.
I'd like to make a request. I don't want to talk about Christmas for the whole podcast.
We don't have to.
Very brief summation.
There's not much to say about it, really.
I just want to hear any interesting anecdotes, family things.
Let me tell you something interesting, okay?
In like hyperspeed.
We chucked out our Christmas tree today, and that's that. Fuck yeah!
Nice.
Another one down, baby. And now this is like it's like a full year before I have to be hassled by Christmas again. So I'm happy.
What a cheerful sentiment.
Well,
no, that's
you're the one who didn't want to talk about Christmas.
I don't want to talk about it.
No, all right, fine.
I'm not flaming.
I
said, what a cheerful
I'm flaming. I just don't like the occasion at all, honestly.
You don't like anything about Christmas?
No, because it's just so much work. Like when you have really small kids, it's just too much work. Like I have 3 small kids who all still believe in Santa Claus and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, it's too much work.
Oh, believe me, that's when it's actually at least got some element of fun.
No, because I feel like when they're older, I can just excuse myself from a lot of it, you know? I'll just be like, I gotta go build a train or something. You know what I mean? Like you can't do that with small kids because they need you to put batteries in things. You got to throw out all the garbage that they make from opening stuff, whatever, you know, like there's too many little jobs to do around it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a million little annoyances. You have to be there all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can appreciate it. I went on holiday over New Year.
Where'd you go?
A Scottish holiday house.
Right.
Well, it's weird because
who'd you go there with?
Like
your parents?
I went with the Spiffing Brits.
Nice.
Mango, and I went with RT Game, and his partner.
Nice.
And I went with a couple of their friends as well. So it was like 7 of us, and I think I was just so tired.
Yeah.
After Jingle Jam and after Christmas, I just like slept a lot. We slobbered around. We played a load of different board games. I read like 2 books. It was just very chill.
That sounds great. I mean, I would like Christmas if that happened to me every year. Honestly, it doesn't.
I mean, now it is very chill. Like I literally sat on the sofa for whatever it was. My mum was up as well, which is a whole different kind of stress. But she does a lot of the menial shit that I can't be bothered to do.
Yeah,
because she enjoys doing it when she's here. I tell her not to, and we had an argument about it, but she wanted to do it, so I was like, fine. So she does all. I
feel like this is just deja vu of every time.
It's like she does the dishwasher and all this stuff, and it's like, you know, it is what it is.
I like doing the dishwasher.
We went crazy this year. We went crazy this year because we actually went away for a week and got back the day before Christmas Eve.
Yeah, that is mad.
With 3 small kids. But honestly, it was kind of nice because while we were away, we felt like we avoided a lot of like the mayhem of the season, you know? We'd already done all of our shopping. We'd already wrapped everything ready for when we got back because we knew it would be tough to get back and still have a lot to do. So in some ways, it actually organized us a lot more. And while we were away, we actually just enjoyed being away and resting and stuff like that. The baby went on a plane for the first time, which is pretty good. She hated it, but on the way back she slept, so it all worked out. It was pretty good. It was nice. And we rented a car, and the guy's like, "Oh, I've got a treat for you." I thought, you know, I just rented a Dadmobile because I just need the space, you know, like I wasn't after anything fancy or whatever. And he's like, guess what you're getting? I was like, I don't know, like a Scenic or something. He's like, nope, we're giving you a Mercedes SUV. It's like some fully loaded, top of the line, brand new Mercedes SUV. It was nice.
Party bus.
Yeah, it was amazing. Nice. The inside was so pimped out as well. It was crazy.
Had like champagne.
Oh, it had buttons for everything. Like it was nuts. And you should have seen the leg space in the back seat as well. The kids were loving it, man. There was just so much space. They could like almost like completely lay down on the seats and stuff. Great. It was really good.
You know, my kids really want us to get an electric car.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they're young and they understand that the planet is going to die before they get to use it. And I was like, well, kids, the problem is getting an electric car is really difficult because I've never bought a new car. I don't believe in buying a new car. I think it's a massive waste of money. I'm sure a lot of people agree.
Yeah, no. Secondhand electric cars, you got to wait for a bit, right?
They're so expensive. Yeah, I mean, the ones that you can get, they haven't got a huge amount of mileage on. I'm sure they're fine cars, but they're little, and they still cost like $8 or $9 grand. Yeah. I looked up, I looked up on Auto Trader secondhand electric cars. I had to go within 50 miles of London, which is quite a big chunk of the country, like a 50-mile radius circle centered on London. That's quite a big area. 12. There were 12 electric cars for sale. And they were all very expensive or reasonably priced, but tiny. One of them was that one that you've seen that looks like they got partway through building a normal car and then stopped.
The Renault Zoe, I think, is the one you're talking about.
It's not the Zoe. It's
Zoe's pretty small. It looks nice, but it's quite small.
No, it's not the Zoe. It's called something like the Stinky.
The Nissan Leaf.
Like
Is it a Nissan Leaf?
No, listen. It doesn't have a body like a car. It looks like a forklift truck. Kind of thing. It's like a 1 or 2 person affair.
You're not going to go on a cross-country trek with that bad boy,
Where am I going to put the kids in the luggage? The dog? Like, this is impossible. So I said to the kids, look, I would like to get an electric car. I'm sure they're great. I know Spiff has the Tesla and was telling me about that. And I know other people who've got them.
Got to ride it up to Scotland.
Yeah.
It's a nice.
Did it drive itself?
Ride.
Did you put it in automatic mode?
You can't.
I don't think you can like fully. I think it gives you a lot of help, but you can't it doesn't drive itself. It's cool. I think the issue for me is the charging, right? Like it doesn't. There were a lot of there's always an issue. You have to find an electric charging port. Do you park on the road?
If you park on the road, there are sometimes charging ports.
I don't park on the road.
Yeah, but do you have a garage, Flax, or
No, I don't. I live
road
in London. A garage is very rare.
Exactly. I mean, you're gonna struggle to. I think you want to charge your car at home, right? And if you're parking on the road,
I can. The telephone poles around here, or the light poles. What are they called? Street light poles.
The street lights.
They have a little latch. You open up the thing, and there's a charging port there. That's quite common in London. So there are about 4 or 5 people on the road that have electric cars. They charge them. You see at night, there's like a hose going between the car and the charging port. Like that's a thing. There's one right near our house. It wouldn't be a problem. The only thing is
being adopted.
The only thing is, if they're all being used, what do you do? And also, how long does it hold the charge? Because we only drive the car once a week.
It's good for a couple of 100 miles, honestly.
Long.
Like it's, I think it's like.
I mean, overnight and stuff. Like if I charge it up, is it good for a week?
You plug it in, and then
no.
It's
like
good
how long does it?
The charge
how
is
long
good
does
for
the charge hold? Is what I'm saying.
I think it holds, and then it expends over the course of about 200 miles. They tell me, but. You get some top-ups because some of them have solar paneling
to
help top up, and also you get a top-up because everything is integrated into the brakes. So when you're braking, it produces a little bit of a boost for the battery as well. I'm told.
Well, I mean that's very standard.
That's pretty standard stuff.
That's a dynamo that is part of normal cars as well. I mean we've had that sort of technology for a long time.
Yeah. So I think it gives you a little bit more juice, but like for long trips you'd have to charge up partway for sure, more so than you would have to fill it up with petrol or whatever. But then you have the added benefit of parking up at your house and just plugging it in overnight, and you're fully charged. I think I think it'll get better in bigger places, but for smaller places, it seems like a really, really good proposition. Like for where I live, for example, would be perfect.
I think there's a few places that you can charge for free, but Spiff said to me that I think it used to be about a tenner to fill the tank, inverted commas, but now it's more like 20.
Yeah.
So it's still a lot cheaper than petrol.
Yeah, for sure.
You definitely save money on that.
Yeah.
Oh, glad. Before we spend the entire podcast talking about electric cars, as fascinating as they are,
they're not fascinating.
And I brought it up.
You want to talk about birds or hands or something else that's incredible?
Or something else.
You ever just looked at your hand though? And just thought, Jesus, fuck, how does this thing work?
Do you smoke a lot of weed at home? Genuine question.
I agree.
fucking wish I did,
I am
honestly.
amazed by the world. Like, I woke up the other day and was very much like, God, what are we? Like these fleshy lumps, like bimbling around until we go all wrinkly and die.
I don't go that deep. I look at my hands sometimes and I think, fuck, my fingers are moving. Like, this is crazy. But and then I stop there. Like, I'm not getting into it. I don't have time. But if I see a bird, I'm like, holy
Just a
shit!
spare
How
minute
did
to contemplate
the fuck
hands.
did he get up there? Like, what's he doing? You know?
No, I want to talk about the Thomas the Tank Engine fandom.
Oh, right. Okay.
Oh,
So
no.
this is a long route to a very weird part of the internet. Okay, I follow an account on Twitter called Take That Darwin,
Right.
which is people generally saying, if evolution is real and we came from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? Which you can type verbatim into Google and it will give you multiple articles explaining why. I'm not going to do that here.
Yeah.
Do it on your own time. It's very obvious when you think about it, but the answer is right there. This guy tweeted that. And whenever I see this, I always check the replies. And it's
Right.
either people saying, yeah, or people saying, you're an idiot. And I looked at this guy's profile and he was saying, people call me the most toxic member of TTE fandom, and they call me the scum of TTE fandom, but they're wrong.
Right.
And that was one of his tweets.
They
and I was
must
like,
be.
TTE is Thomas Tank
Thomas the
Engine.
Tank Engine. So I thought, TTE
Okay.
fandom, what the heck is that? I noticed he had Thomas the Tank Engine as his portrait on Twitter. And I noted that a lot of the other people he'd interacted with also had Thomas the Tank Engine characters as their avatars. And I dug a little deeper, and there was some big drama in the Thomas the Tank Engine community.
Right.
And there was...
Fuck me.
Yeah,
Was
there
it because of the Biggie remix? Do you think that did it? That
it
tipped
was
him
not
over?
the Biggie remix.
Oh,
I think that created it.
No, this was just, these are adults
I gotta listen to that
who
Biggie
are
remix now.
really into Thomas the Tank Engine and still make fan movies about Thomas and his friends a lot. And they're all CGI. They've made they're full stories. They try to stay true to the original canon of the original series. There's all kinds of debates about it. They try and add backstories and characters to them. They
Yeah,
work on...
but okay, for all that, that's all fine and dandy. But is there is there a lot of
Say
these
it.
videos on Pornhub?
Exactly where I was going.
Oh
Like, this
my God.
has to be a sex thing. There's no way it's not.
Thomas and Percy. Decouple, Percy! Decouple! It hurts! It's hurting me!
Stop
Oh, no.
shunting me, Percy!
Stop shunting! Shunt me harder! Shunt me! Shunt me! Shunt me! Oh my
The
God!
controller is just jerking off in the control tower.
That really
Percy,
stokes my boiler.
go on, my little train, shunt!
He's watching on the CCTV,
Yeah.
sliver
Shunt.
style. Oh man!
So no, there's this guy. I looked.
Shunting sounds like a really disgusting sex
does.
thing, actually.
Oh
He
my
put
God.
he put together an hour and a half long review video of that year's the community's best fan made movies and stuff like that. And then he got called out for using other people's content, even though that's pretty much how a review works, is you have to show snippets of it in order to review it. You can't just say, try to imagine the following scenes. It's not using other people's content if you're reviewing it. If you just put
Yes,
the whole
you're
thing
allowed
up,
to use like a
that's
couple of
fair
seconds or
use.
whatever.
Yeah, of course. So he's showing sections and breaking it down and saying what he loved about it and giving them awards, the steamy awards, as he called them.
Nice.
But he was then called out. People called it disgraceful and disgusting that he'd made this video because he decided on what he'd enjoyed most that year and hadn't asked the community to vote. He got a lot of stick for that. It's a fascinating dive down into the drama of a micro scene and how everyone involved is just insane.
This happens when people disagree with other people's takes, right? We've had a couple of bonus videos come out over the last couple of weeks.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
And a lot of people have been like very angry
With
about
who?
our takes.
All
with,
of us.
with all of us. in
I feel like
various
more
things.
specifically, probably you though.
And if you're angry, I want you just to step back for a second and realize that this is our take on something. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No historian's going to use
people are
this
going to
as a
enjoy
source.
things in different
Oh wait,
ways.
was this? I hear historians. I immediately think of the episode we did on favorite wars. Is that the one?
So that went out yesterday.
That's the one that went out.
Oh, right.
The one that
okay.
went out prior to that, the Minecraft blocks, I got a lot of people talking about that.
Right.
I got a hate thread about it because apparently I wasn't enthusiastic enough. I thought it was as respectful as I could be. I didn't join in as much.
You're not a big Minecrafter. It's got to be
No,
said.
and
You've
I
never
mean,
really played the game much, so
all
Right.
of these
It's
podcasts
understandable.
are going to have a slightly different tone based on how tired we are, how exhausted we are, how many people are ringing the doorbell, what we got to do in the day, what we've done this week. Like, they're all, some of them are just going to be duplicates of last year's podcasts that we've forgotten about, where we talk about exactly the same
Electric
shit that we've
cars.
forgotten about.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Most of them.
You're just going to have to
All
get
of
what
them.
you get. And I don't know why people get so angry about other people's... why don't people get more angry about other people's opinions
They do.
on things
Oh my
that
god,
actually
they
matter?
do. Have you ever been on
All
Twitter
right.
before? Jesus Christ.
All right.
That's all it is. My opinion's better than yours. No, fuck you. I'm canceling you. That's all it is.
It's all it is.
It is.
My
It
man
really is
speaks
awful,
truth.
actually. Yeah, I need to quit. So maybe that should be my New Year's resolution.
Quit social media.
New Year's resolution. I'm going to stick to the same New Year's resolution I've had for some time now, and I'm going to stick to not exercising or looking after myself, because I do that really well and consistently. Right. And I'm not one of these people who gets to the end of January and thinks, shit, I failed. I'm a winner. I get to the end, I'm like, fuck, I am on track. Like this is still going according to plan.
is a thing.
I hit the summer, I'm like, shit, it's still going. I'm still not
Fridge
exercising.
Full of oat milk. Everyone's offices, everyone's trying to eat falafel for a couple of weeks and realize that they can't live without cheese for 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Incredible.
Yes, good Veganuary. Give it a go.
Veganuary?
There's all sorts of shit going on.
I'm going to do Vaginuary.
Yeah, I'm not actually. I'm fucking...
Is that eat a vagina every day?
I'm done. I'm done with vaginas. Keep them away from me. I don't want any more. I'm done.
Right.
I don't need...
Those things make
kids. They spawn too many.
I got 3 problems.
I'm done. Oh, man.
I'm not even looking at one.
God bless. Yeah. I'm not gazing into one ever again, that's for sure. I'm done.
Gazing.
Gazing. Lustfully gazing.
Is that how children
That's
are
how
made?
it starts, yeah.
God.
Oh, God.
Don't look at it. It'll suck you in. Before you know it, there'll be babies.
Oh,
so they get you.
See, I think the Gorgon or Medusa would have been a lot more successful if she'd have a vagina that turned dudes into stone.
Yeah, that would be.
Than snake
She
hairs.
lure
You
them
see
in.
the snake hairs. Who's going over there?
Nobody.
The lady with the snake hair.
But if you have snakes on the ends of all of your pubes around your vagina, that's a different story, right?
I think a lot of guys would still brave it. They'd be like,
hell yeah. Any holes a goal, mate. Hey, snakes or no, any holes a goal.
Yeah, exactly. They're only little. How old could they buy
I
it?
always thought the any holes a goal implied that essentially they were bisexual. But I'm sure that most of the people that use that terminology are not.
No, I don't think so. But
it would count as a goal, fucking a dude up the arse, though. That would count because you stipulated that
it's
any hole is a goal. So,
well, yeah, I think it applies across the board.
Yeah,
but I think
I
think the primary implication is the forbidden one, though. The more forbidden one, right?
What's that?
Well, it's like as if to say, like, any hole is a goal, right? Like if you're talking about adults, that's one thing. But then if you extend that to say,
oh my God.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Sheep.
Yes.
Wow. I see.
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Did not go there.
Thomas the Tank Engine. I see I see where this is going. Yeah. So I had a nice time. I read a couple of books. I actually tell you what I read, which you might not think is okay, but who knows? I read The Thursday Night Murder Club by Richard Osman.
Oh, yeah.
Who is the guy from Pointless.
Yeah, I actually kind of like Richard Osman. I guess that makes me like a boomer or maybe like a normie or something, but I actually find him kind of funny. Like, I wouldn't like seek him out to watch a show with him in it, but if he's a guest on a show or something, I'm not upset about that. Like, he's all right.
He is the darling of old folks, right? The daytime TV crowd, the old ladies, they love him. They love him to bits, right? Yeah. And he's taken that and spun it into a successful novel writing career about a series of very smart old folks in an old folks home who solve mysteries for fun, which is kind of a very British sort of thing anyway, very Agatha Christie. And it's very, very English, okay? People are like, well, do you want a mini cheddar? They're all very... It's about as English as you can get.
I bought a tube of them just this morning. I had to go to the shop, get some milk, and they're getting rid of them. And I was like, no, you don't. And I bought a tube. because man, I love
a
them so
tube.
much.
What, like a Pringles
It
tube,
is-
but of
Yeah,
of mini
they come in
chips?
like a big fat tubes that you can actually fit your hand into, unlike the Pringles tubes. Your big fat hand can't reach the bottom, but these festive tubes of mini cheddars
This is part of the New Year's
are
resolution. To sit on
gigantic.
your ass
You
and
can you
fat.
could almost get 2 hands in there to get the cheddars at the bottom.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, it's so authentically English. I don't know. Well, I don't want this to turn into a book review podcast, but I actually really enjoyed it. It just really put you into the world, and you know, of people and their local drama and all of their gossip and their busybodying around.
You might like a documentary that I watched last year. I think it was last year. It was a documentary. I think they're all on
Could apply to a week ago.
No, they're all on iPlayer, and it was called like, I have to look it up, but I think it was called like The Mole Man or something. And what they did was they sent an old man. He's an old Spanish man. He was like in his 80s, and they sent him into a care home undercover to
I saw that. It was so
do
good.
reporting for them.
It's so good.
But he was quite lonely. Like his partner had died, and I think his kids were quite a bit older, and they just didn't visit him that much. And he was quite lonely. And it was kind of twofold. It was like, we need you to do this secret mission, but also, while he was in there, he made friends and really enjoyed it. And I think he ended up staying in the end, or he goes back to visit because he made some friends and stuff. It was really nice. Man, it was so good though. Like I
love the bit when he's in there and the guy says to him over the radio, stop trying to look like a spy.
Yeah, because he had like his notebook and everything. He was taking it so seriously. It was so funny.
Yeah, it's really, really
it's
good. If you
really
haven't
good.
seen it.
It's really good.
Documentary.
Yeah.
So I think he. I think it was a good book. Honestly, it felt wholesome. It felt warming. It had like emotional bits, and obviously these guys in this retirement home are sort of perpetually surrounded by death, you know, or you know, being moved to the inevitable nursing home where they finally lose their marbles, and so you know they constantly have this kind of. I mean, the way that Richard Osman writes it means that these old folks almost have this new lease on life because they know there's not much life left, and they kind of joke about that all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know how real it is in a sense, you know, because I've never been hanging around retirement homes long term, but I'd like to think it was quite,
don't worry.
All these old folks, I don't know, like it's. I just liked it. I thought it was a nice read, and I enjoyed it. And I also read on a completely different thing. I read Andy Weir's Hail Mary project, which is he's obviously the guy who wrote The Martian.
I've got that. I haven't read it yet.
You recommended it to me, I think, and it was great. I loved it.
And I've
really loved
the
it.
new Cormac McCarthy book. I haven't read that yet.
That's right. Have you read that? Have you done any?
No, I haven't done any reading yet. And I got Alan Rickman's autobiography. It's very good.
Very
so
nice.
far.
Very nice.
I heard in that he said that initially he hated the characters, the actors, and they were rubbish. Or at least at some point.
You're talking about HP.
Harry Potter, right?
Potter,
Is he the bad guy in Harry Potter, Alan Rickman?
He is Severus Snape.
I've never seen a Harry Potter or read one, so I
They're
don't.
good movies. They're good movies. Your kids will love them.
My
dude.
kids tried to read the books; they didn't like them.
Nah, forget the books. The movies are really good.
All right, okay.
The movies are really good. They're really fun.
I gotta-
Mrs. F and the kids love them.
I need a setup. Like my son is at the age now where he wants to watch movies that are just they're no good for like my 2 daughters. I need to get like a home theater or something set up in the garage.
You need some father-son
There's some
time where you can
classics.
just
Like I want the
yourselves.
Indiana Jones trilogy, Back to the Future trilogy, the first Jurassic Park. Like there's so many movies I want him to see. Terminator 2. Like oh man,
my kids watched Aliens
Pulp
last
Fiction,
year.
Reservoir
Loved it.
Dogs. Like geez,
I tried getting them to watch. Wasn't Pulp Fiction? What
just
was
went
it?
under the radar a little.
We watched it. No. I mean, seriously, I was this age when I was watching scary movies and stuff like that. It didn't mess me up too bad.
No.
We did watch Aliens. I said it's scary, but it's a little gory, but there's nothing too scary in it.
Wow.
They thought it was amazing.
He's got all the Fall Guys skins, so he's raring to go. He needs to make those connections. He needs to.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, Alien is disturbingly scary.
Yes.
Like it really is
tense.
terrifying.
It's tense as hell,
Aliens
right?
is more of an action movie. I mean,
I
if
thought
you look
Aliens was scary when I saw it. I must have been about 11 or 12 when I first saw it, and I was
it's
petrified.
scary.
Yeah, I thought it was scary as shit.
But it's not like terrifying the way that Alien.
The entire Marvel back catalogue is a good shout. I mean, all of that can be watched by any age.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then again, like a lot of these are all
he really
family
liked
movies,
he
right?
likes Ghostbusters 2, and he really liked Ghostbusters Afterlife, the more recent one that came out.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's 11, right? Like it's
No, but again,
fine.
it's not bad. It's not an adult. Well, it's again. I think back in the 80s, all these things you mentioned were the mainstream movies, but they were also family friendly.
Mostly,
like you could take your kids to these things, and there would be like a little bit of someone would say shit once in Jurassic Park or whatever.
Sure,
but that was like seen as the worst bit. And if someone would get eaten by a Tyrannosaurus, and it would have a bit of mild peril. But even Jurassic Park and all those movies are all family movies.
My parents never got really hung up on swearing, like as being a problem. Like we were not like we weren't like swearing like sailors from an early age, but like we were allowed to say a couple of things, and it was like,
I mean, Star Wars too. Remember, Star Wars is a U. Or at least it used to be, like back in the day. It was these original Star Wars movies were meant to watch us by with the family. They were fun.
The director's cut of Obi-Wan Kenobi just absolutely losing his shit in ghost form at Luke Skywalker. Use the fucking lightsaber, you fucking idiot! Oh, fuck this fucking stupid idiot! Fuck! Oh,
what have I been saying the whole freaking time? Use the Force! Use the Force! Look at this guy! Turn off the fucking targeting computer! What are you doing? Did we cover the targeting computer in the lessons? We didn't. I didn't even bring it up once, and here he goes in the fucking X-Wing. What's the first thing he does? Fucking targeting computer. Turn that shit off! Sorry, Obi!
Today's episode is sponsored by Honey, the easy way to save when shopping on your phone or computer. How do you guys feel about getting some money off stuff?
I love that.
It's a great feeling. I hate paying full price for anything. And Honey makes you feel smart, lucky, and delighted to get often like 20 or 30% off when I use it.
Wow.
Off of stuff. I have bought a lot of stuff on other websites that have needed coupons, and Honey has been popping up, saving me money left, right, and center. It's surprising how often it does work. And I saved like £5, I think, on it with a Honey coupon. Pyrian, how do you normally find your deals?
I wake up on a bed of coupons, and whichever coupon book is stuck to my face with saliva from sleeping, I leaf through it until I find a bargain, and then I head down to my local store and I purchase things with my coupons. But it's not the most convenient system. Is there a better one, young man?
There is. There is now. You can load up your computer. It doesn't just work on desktops, it works on your iPhone too. You can install Honey by going to joinhoney.com/Triforce. That's joinhoney.com/Triforce. It will search for coupons
Check
from
it
all
out.
over the internet.
Indeed, I will.
And all you have to do is nothing. It just does it automatically in the background.
Oh my God.
And it will find coupons and stick them in. It doesn't bother you the rest of the time. It's great. I recommend
The future is now.
Yeah,
with Honey.
You don't need to worry about getting all your coupons all jumbled up or them being out of date or any of that stuff.
Or getting saliva stuck on them because you fell asleep on your chair on the coupon book.
My bed of coupons.
It's like a decent proposal, but it's coupons.
There you go. Joinhoney.com/Triforce. Thank you for sponsorship, and see you soon.
Thank you. I feel like growing up I know we talk about this a lot, but growing up in the 80s was different to kids growing up now, I feel like, for sure. Like,
you think?
Yeah, like I don't know. I think we were subjected to more stuff ahead of our time, sort of thing. Than well, maybe not. Actually, that's probably bullshit. Because
I think if we give that any thought, the internet has kind of stepped in.
I just forgot about the internet.
Yeah, no, that's understandable.
Yeah, it's pretty forgettable. But
I've been watching David Letterman's Stupid Human Tricks and Stupid Pet Tricks, which is a segment that he used to do, and they're all on YouTube, it seems.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see the way people dressed and acted back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
They would travel from all over the country to do this stuff. Nowadays, they would just do a TikTok.
They were always wearing a
their
pair
dog
of slacks with like a sweater almost seemingly tucked in.
Right, yeah.
That was the 80s,
but a lot
much.
more bright colors.
Yeah.
And but in general, the idea that if you didn't see this on TV, how else were you going to see it?
Yeah,
TV
true.
was the gatekeeper, right?
Yeah.
So I just thought it was funny because these guys were like, where you live? Indiana. And you got over here? Yeah, I had to take a flight over here with the dog. It was kind of a nightmare, but we're here now. So, that was it. A lot of people from Long Island.
But like Letterman was
New
on
Jersey.
at like 11 o'clock at night as well. It's like quite late, right? So
I don't know if was it live? I guess it was live.
I think
right?
it was.
I
think it was
don't know if they
recorded
filmed it
during the day.
Yeah,
and then it
But either
broadcast
way, they
that day
travel.
live.
Yeah, they travel to do this thing, and they're on for like a minute or two, and then they're gone. But nowadays, you wouldn't do that. You would do that on TikTok or something, and you would instead do what someone like Ellen did, where you just find these big TikTokers and then put them on your TV show, and everybody's like, "Oh wow, Ellen's so clever and creative," but it's just like advertising. It's all just stolen from the fucking internet.
Yeah.
I saw something the other day. It was a really, really old meme. It was like a 3-year-old meme.
Right.
Oh, you know what it was? You remember the guy?
Was it that one where the guy's walking down the street with his girlfriend, but he's looking at some other girl or whatever?
No. You remember
Man,
that
I
song?
love how you're trying to guess the meme.
No, it's not.
Guess the meme.
Thousands
We could
of
do a
them.
new segment. We could do
Guess
a new.
the meme.
Yeah.
It
Is
was
it
the
that
one,
one with the guy with his girlfriend and he's looking at the other girl walking by or whatever? That's my go-to every time.
Not that one. No, it was the one where there's a couple of guys in a car, and one of the guys says to the "Hey, Mufasa, you know what day it is?" He goes, "Huh? It's Friday then. It's Saturday, Sunday," and he opens the door of the car and does a sort of dance, walking next to the car while it's slowly moving. Right? It was huge on YouTube. You can look it up. It's called the guy's name is Mufasa. He's a gigantic guy, and he does these really cool dance moves, but also is kind of goofy and funny. It's really good. It was very popular. That's now an advert. I saw that the other day for like not Just Eat, but one of those fucking. That video is like 4 years old, and they've just made it into an advert. And I was speaking about this before about how when Mrs. F worked for a company that did advertising, she didn't work in advertising. The creative department sits around watching YouTube videos all fucking day.
Well, yeah, because they have to
All
be
fucking
inspired by other people's creations.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
That's one way to put it. Yeah, nick it would be another way.
Well, I mean, it's some of the best stuff out there is a result of just stealing somebody else's idea or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think the advert
Inspiration.
for I can't remember, it was some insurance company that just lifted the concept from that OK Go music video where they're dancing
Well,
around
look at We Buy Any
3 years
Car
after they did it.
You remember that one? That was stolen from Go Compare, right? That was around the same time. Go Compare.
What do you mean?
No?
What's that?
We Buy Any Car.
What is the
I recognize
what is
that
that?
It's a
the
car
thing, it was
honking
from
because we
your
buy
guy.
any car. It's like part of the
see.
song.
That's
see.
Astor Price. Yeah, like all of the ones. Yeah. Like the.
You're right.
I don't know,
Theft
like,
is fine. Crack on.
Yeah.
Crack on,
it's
advertisers.
not. This is actually. I've got an issue with this. Like the idea of idea theft, right? Like if you come up with if you imagine you're sitting around with loads of friends, okay, and you're just shooting the shit. And you come up with loads of ideas, right? And then a week later, someone does one of those ideas, right? How bad is that?
Have you done this?
I think we all. I think anybody who's done any YouTube content has done it by default, right? Like you copy other people's formats and ideas and stuff all the time. So we're all guilty of it.
I said
probably.
when I was talking to, I had a chat with someone about this because I said, look, if I come up with some ideas and someone else does them, I'm fucking delighted. I'm not going to sue them. I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to be salty. I'm going to be like, fantastic. They did something which I want.
Yeah, yeah.
I came up with an idea for a thing that I thought would be cool, and you've done it, and it's now cool, and you've been successful from it. I'm fucking delighted.
Yeah, I would never have done it.
If we had talked about something, and I had suggested something I wanted to do, and then you went and did it, that isn't cool.
Well, that's why you sign an NDA or force your friend to sign an NDA, and then then you sue their ass when they turn around and pull a fast one on you. Easy.
I see.
Simple. I'm just saying, if subsequently something I had an idea for comes real, And I didn't talk to this person about it. It just happened that, because it does sometimes happen. You'll think of something, and then a movie comes out. I think, I thought of something like that a few years ago.
Yeah, and they stole my idea.
I didn't make a movie about it.
Well, look at all the Marvel superheroes. I thought about all of them before they came out. And now somebody's rolling in money, and it's not me. Yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't talk to Stan Lee. You didn't go for lunch with Stan Lee.
Oh, sorry. I guess that was that's what I had to do. I mean,
no, I'm saying if he'd nicked your idea, you go to lunch with Stan Lee. You're talking to him about this guy called the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
I was going to make this superhero called the Incredible Hulk. He'd be a big green guy. He got his powers from gamma rays. It only comes out when he's angry. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a pretty cool idea. And the next week you see
Spider-Man 3 comes out, Spider-Man 4 comes out. Stan, you won't return my calls. I've been trying to get in touch with you. I wanted to know what you thought about my idea about the Spider guy, the Spider superhero. Right? Why won't you reply to me, Stan? Spider-Man 5 comes out, Spider-Man 6 is released. Oh, fuck. Yeah.
I guess like it's obviously you're right, P-Flax. It's tricky, but I feel like if it's such a simple idea, there's a good chance that someone else has come up with it as well. And are they mad? I don't know. Like this happens a lot, right? That stuff like Spider-Man. I mean, sure, who knew that was going to get big though, right? Like when you came up
anything, like go and
for and it's about the execution
man.
as well. Like you could have the best idea in the world, execute it like crap, and then it'll be garbage. Yeah. You know, I think it's about the right people doing the idea too, right?
And timing is important as well, which is the very fluky part of it, because nobody can really say when the best time for something to come out is, but there is a timing element to some of this stuff too. Something will have come out and just swept the nation, and it's just because there was nothing else like it at the time. But it was a simple idea, maybe so simple that people had thought about it before and just thought, no, it's kind of dumb, I'm not going to do it. But then somebody's gone and done it well enough, I don't know, get into like the hype of what people are wanting at the time, and it's just dumb luck a lot of the time, I would say.
I guess it's about the principle of the thing, but for me, like, or feeling left out, right? If I like come up with an idea and then people do it without me, maybe I'd feel left out, or maybe like if they made a load of money off of it, I'd feel like bad. But if it's just a fun thing that people have done, or even like I feel like even if
this
someone
is the whole plot to the movie
idea,
Coco, by the way, the guy makes all those famous songs, but he doesn't have what it takes to like go national with them or whatever, and then all of his songs get stolen by a very charismatic singer who claims that they're his songs, but they're not.
Michael Bublé.
Yeah, kind of like Michael Bublé. And then his nephew has to rescue him from the afterlife and convince him that he should take ownership of these amazing songs that he wrote and call out the guy who stole his material. Right? That is Coco. That's the whole thing around Coco, and that applies to a lot of what you just said as well. Coming up with an idea. Not going through with it, and then somebody else coming along and saying, "Oh, I'll take that idea. I know what to do with this."
Though are not ideas. This is someone's created. So that's
ideas can be
right?
pretty creative as well. Like there's big IPs based around people's creative ideas, so it's kind of the same.
Yeah, but I think again, like you can't. An idea is so loose and nebulous that it might. If it's not executed right, it's crap.
No.
I think that if you come up with like an idea for something,
some music is like that too. Like some original songs, it doesn't happen often, but rarely you'll have a song that the original version of it is not that great, but it'll be picked up and covered by somebody who makes it amazing, right? Like,
I think I'll do a song. I think it would be really popular if I did a song on the harmonica,
yeah.
right? And you suggest that to someone, and then 2 weeks later, they've spent I don't know, 100 hours writing this fucking amazing song, and you can't be angry that they ripped off your idea.
You can,
for
though,
that,
and
right?
people are, like, all the time. All the damn time they are.
That's true.
There's a lot of big egos.
Why can't people be happy for other people, for their own success?
Because your ego prevents you from it. And there's some people out there with just out of control egos that will not allow them to be happy for another person. They just need it all, right? They need all the fame and the glory and the
But do you
attention.
think the really famous people, the way they get to be ultra famous is by being that way?
Yes.
If you're the nice guy, you're not going to be like Taylor Swift or Beyonce or Ed Sheeran or something.
I think
like
people
that.
probably start off reasonably nice because they have to be, because they won't get anywhere otherwise. But the minute they're in a position to truly just be themselves, immediately they turn into that person, right? Like, I think. I don't know.
I mean, I know it's a pretty cutthroat industry, most of entertainment, right? Because you're only as good as your last movie.
Apparently, some people like I was reading. There's a big Reddit thread. Take it with a pinch of salt because it is Reddit, but it was people's firsthand accounts of whether a celebrity was a shitty person, like outside the limelight or not, and. There's a big consensus that Shania Twain is quite a shitty person outside of the limelight.
I don't doubt it.
Sure. Apparently, Jennifer Lopez is also quite a shitty, narcissistic person.
I know someone who worked with Mariah Carey.
Yes.
In a similar kind of thing. And she had, at the time, a lighting supervisor who followed her everywhere with a light meter. And if the light wasn't acceptable, she wouldn't enter the room. So like, from what
I've read about Mariah Carey is that a lot of this stuff is not really Mariah Carey. She had a PR agency who were mental and kind of had this image idea of her that they
as a diva.
Yes, her herself, she's not like that. Apparently she's just like a 5-year-old who lives in a bubble and is actually quite pleasant to be around and fun to hang out with if you just get her. But the people that she's surrounded by are all insane.
Yeah.
Okay, so recently I met Gwendolyn Christie from Game of Thrones.
Well, you kept that one quiet. Brienne of Tarth. For the WoW castle thing.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were being sarcastic, Sips. It was all over the internet. I mean...
No, I was being a bit sarcastic, but then I remembered that he did indeed meet Brienne of Tarth.
When she came in first, because we were filming this thing, she was like pretty serious and aloof, and in fact, she was reading off this book. And she sort of turned to us all at one point and was like, can you all please just stay still? It's putting me off. It's like ruining my focus. I need to focus on reading this or else it's not going to work, okay? Kind of like irritable, like irritated, like a little bit mean. And if that was the only interaction I'd had with her, I would have gone away thinking, well, Brienne of Tarth's a bit of a bitch.
Right.
But I sort of didn't, because later on, I actually got to talk to her a bit more, and she was super, super nice. And obviously, it was like, I think that also applies to other people, right? Like, if you catch them at a bad time, or when they're trying to do some work, or when they've got a thing on, or I'm a dick to a lot of people a lot of the time.
Oh, me too.
And if that's the only interaction you had with me, I'm sorry, because hopefully I've been able to make it up to you another time by being nice.
And he's the worst.
That sucks. What a crappy apology.
I just think that Reddit thread thing. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? That's why I'm saying take it with a pinch of salt. It's just interesting to think though that you have like maybe a little bit of insight. But on the positive side, apparently Elton John is really, really nice. Anyone who's ever worked with him, like firsthand accounts of working with him, apparently he's just chucking money all over the place, helping people out when they need it. He's super into music. Like he'll listen to people's mixtapes and demos and samples. But then again, and stuff,
I'm sure Elton's probably been a right diva.
I'm sure he has.
When something pissed him off,
but
or the piano wasn't there.
It's nice to think that you know, even if he had been, at least he's a
professional.
He has his moments where he's nice, right?
You've got to be mean to some people sometimes.
Sure.
When some people do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
All
like
I'm going to say is
mess up. You have to discipline them.
When it comes to being a big star, I don't think it's possible to not be a bit of a dick in order to get things done, genuinely.
Sure. Yeah.
Because if you're Elton John and you go out there and the piano's kind of wonky and the sound's not great and they fucked up the lighting, the audience isn't going to think, oh man, Elton John was great, but all the other stuff was really bad. They're going to say, Elton John's show sucked. He's the face of the show. He's the guy who has to go out there and be perfect.
Yeah.
He's the guy who has to go out there and nail it. He's the guy who's got to do this. Same for any artist, any actor, any musician,
but you
any
think
of them.
somebody like Elton John, I don't know if this is the case, but I like to think that somebody like Elton John, who's actually pretty talented, right? And has been responsible for a couple of big bangers in his time or whatever.
Pretty talented.
Yeah. I like to think, look,
I'm
just trying to make my point here. I like to think that he could get on stage, his piano would break down and he would just wing it, and it would still be really fucking awesome to watch and entertaining and stuff. You know what I mean?
He's got to be perfect, dude.
And he wouldn't really mind so much either. You know, he would just kind of roll with it because he is pretty talented and he can do this.
Maybe Sips. He's an actual massive dick about this sort of stuff in the background, and that's what makes him appear so perfect.
Sure,
you know that he's always. It's like people who have their riders and stuff. I feel like those things are important because it stops the band getting angry and pissed off, and rightly so. If things are not
for
done,
me,
right?
I like to think, and I know this might not be the case, but me personally, I like to think that it's a case of the less talent you have, the more emphasis you place on these dumb things, right? My microphone needs to be exactly 3 inches away from my face at all times, or I'm not going to perform. So, you know what I mean? Like all these little technicalities.
I get you.
I think it might be the other way around.
No, I feel like there's some people who are just so talented that it doesn't matter. All of these little hiccups or little things don't matter. They'll still get out there and they'll just smash out a good show. No problem. Right?
I think maybe
and they'll
get
to the end of it and they'll just be like, "Oh, don't worry, Barry. These things happen. Right. It's fine. I'm talented as fuck. It doesn't matter. Like, like my pants can fall down and the show will still be awesome." You know what I mean? I think that. Yeah.
I get that, but I think a lot of the time people want to see a show that's really, really slick and well put together.
Yeah.
And
I
the way
understand.
you get that, and like I said, the thing is, they're the face of the product. Nobody's going to know the name of the lighting technician that fucked up or the sound guy that fucked up. All they're going to think is, wow, insert star here. Really, that sucked. And that's not that they're the only person who the show reflects on.
You know, you hear these stories like about stuff like this, right? Like Axl Rose is probably a really good example of somebody who's like a bit of a diva around this stuff, right?
Bit of a diva, I'd say.
There's definitely horror stories of him just like refusing to go on stage because like he didn't have 10 cherries before the show or whatever, you know, like shit like that. As much as I've liked Guns N' Roses, and if I didn't know anything about Axl Rose, I would just be like, oh man, Guns N' Roses are like pretty good band at the time, or you know, maybe like some of their stuff is like kind of like classic now. His behavior has definitely made me see them like in a worse light, you know? Like I can't like help but think that like no matter how many of their shows they did were great or whatever, there was always this asshole behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And like
I think
can't
most
shake
of them
that.
are.
Yeah.
I think pretty much every single big act has to fight for everything.
Sure.
I think and they've got this kind of siege mentality where if something's wrong, why are you trying to sabotage my show? It's all got to be just so.
Yeah,
also,
I get it. But
if you're a big star, genuinely think of the pressure that you are under to perform and be perfect and be amazing and all this all the time. I get it. I think it's human nature. There is also, obviously, there are some people who are just complete cunts.
Yeah,
and it's an ego thing and they've let it all go to their head.
Well, that's also human nature in a lot of ways too, right?
Yeah,
like,
because it happens like every time.
Yeah.
So we think these are bad people, but I just think you could put pretty much anyone in that situation and they turn into the same person.
I think the way this works for me is that sometimes I always target the squeakiest wheel or the worst thing that's happening. Right, so everything could be perfectly fine, but the thing that is the worst will get my focus.
So
and
Dav,
be like, okay,
we're just talking about
this
Dav
thing
right
better.
here.
No, we're not. I think it's common where you can also get into, if you're not careful, which I think did happen a little bit at this Jingle Jam, you get into a mindset of being so worried about everything that you're kind of over fearful of everything, right?
Yeah.
And I think also sometimes when we've had a few streams where things have gone wrong or done a few shows where something's gone wrong, you know, like as much as you say like someone entertaining could just pull through, and we can always do that. It's no good if we start the stream, you know, a half an hour late, or like the sound doesn't work for the first 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Like that's that. However good you are as Elton John, if your microphone's not fucking on for the first 10 minutes, you're gonna have trouble.
Yeah, but if
right?
you're up there
and
doing
the
backflips and the fireworks show is still working, who gives a shit, right? Like
that's true. I think there's like maybe some people can handle it, but I think that maybe some people, maybe Elton would just stand up and bow to the audience and walk around and talk to people for 10 minutes until they told him that it was all working. I don't know. Maybe he has. Maybe he knows. Maybe he is.
But that's such a good example, though, because like some people are like that. But and it's just a little thing, but it goes such a long way. You know what I mean? Like you'll have these stories about like Elton John or like Dave Grohl or whatever, where people are like, oh, such and such wasn't working, and everybody's getting mad or whatever. But he was just like drinking water and chatting to people at the front, and it's like it's excused because people can be reasonable as long as like the other person is also a bit reasonable too.
But does Dave Grohl have a whipping boy who goes around yelling at people in the background to get it fixed? You see what I mean? To keep it off him. Does Elton John have an arsehole following him around?
They do.
Who takes the flak?
But these people always do, and you've seen it with even with other like YouTubers and stuff. Because it's not even that these people are sought out in the first place. They seek out these people and think that they're doing what they need to do around
on their
them.
behalf.
Yeah, it's like Smith and Mango,
they're almost like
right?
No, but you know what I mean.
Mango's just his enforcer. She just comes in. What the fuck is this? I'm not having Spiff sit on this sofa. You can have. You sit there. She's like that. She's brutal.
A lot of the times you can have the front-facing person is like the nicest person you'll ever meet, and then whoever manages them or is like responsible for just like taking care of them is just a total arsehole. Like you can't believe that the two of them would even spend 5 seconds together, but right. There you are.
That's not true. Mango is lovely. Mango is really lovely.
Yeah. Well, we have to say that, of course, or she'd fucking destroy us.
Oh man, no, but it's like you know what I mean, right? Like there's definitely an element of that. It's like I don't know, these people that want to like manage talented people, they seek them out, right? Like it's not the other way around. A talented person isn't looking for some arsehole to manage them. It's the manager that is so incessantly trying to get in and manage the person and to be part of it or whatever.
He was the successful arsehole in a previous job. Yeah. I've got 5 years experience being an asshole.
I've got a very, very impressive resume of being an asshole.
I've shouted at a lot of people.
Hey, speaking of resumes, today is the big day, by the way. Everybody's favorite TV show, The Apprentice, is back on.
Oh my god!
Really? Fuck off!
Wait, did you watch Traitors then, dude?
I did not watch Traitors. No,
I think you guys would like that show.
I cannot. I think you would like that. I can't handle Winkleman.
I haven't watched it yet.
So she's not really in it. Claudia Winkleman. She's the least offensive television producer we've got. Like I don't know how you could hate her. I'm not a fan, but she's not. She's not
like nails on a chalkboard for me. I just can't handle it. Yeah, I just cannot.
You do have some odd hatreds.
I can't explain it. I can't explain it.
I think you just hate women. You hate Claudia Winkleman. You hate Adele.
No, I don't hate Adele. I just don't want to watch her
every other woman
live.
We've ever spoken about. You were just flaming Mango.
Oh, I was not. You guys were flaming Mango. Okay, I have no ill will towards Mango whatsoever. I think Mango's pretty great, actually.
Pretty great, he says.
Well, you gotta play it down a little bit. But no, I don't hate women at all. What are you talking about? I love women. I love all sorts of women.
I'm just saying, if you hate Claudia Winkleman, you're a misogynist. That's all I'm saying.
Come on, that's not fair. I'm not even saying I hate Claudia Winkleman. I just choose not to watch it.
Twitter is saying
fair or not.
Yeah,
I don't think you're being fair.
There's a whole Reddit thread about it already.
There's a thread right now.
I know we haven't finished
Why does
the podcast.
Sips hate women?
Oh, come on. It's not true. It's not true.
Of course it's not true. I wouldn't say it if it was true.
I mean, catch me when the mics aren't live and the story will be different. But for now, I love them. I love them.
I mean, your 3 kids are evidence of how much you love women.
Yeah, I love women. God, I love them so much.
Obsessed with them.
I just don't really want to see an Adele show live. There's other acts I would rather see.
Don't love them too much. And
Winkleman,
that's equally dangerous.
There's other presenters that I think could do better. You know what I mean? I hate presenters. No, I'm not even saying male presenters, but I'm just saying like, why not just get just get fucking Tess Daly on there or something. You know what I mean? I can handle Tess.
I like Tess.
I like Tess a lot. Actually.
So anyway, putting Claudia Winkleman to one side, if I may, no offense, Claudia. I know she listens to the podcast avidly.
Wait, are you talking about Claudia Winkleman on BBC Traders? I love that show. Oh man, I love Winkleman.
Honestly, you should watch it. I think you would really like it.
I saw it being advertised during the World Cup, but I just sort of figured...
right. If you like The Apprentice, dude, I'm telling you, this is right up your street. Give it a try.
As is well documented, I don't actually like The Apprentice, okay? I hate watch The Apprentice.
This is the same deal, but it's also got some bits in that you will be like, oh my god!
Married at First Sight is another one that I absolutely hate watch to death. Like,
but you watch it.
Yeah, I do watch it. Yeah,
right. So I honestly, given the things you said that you enjoy watching,
you think I could hate watch Traitors?
Yeah, I cannot see you not enjoing this show.
It feels too gamey, though. I saw like a bit of it, and there was like people really hardcore conspiring, and I don't know. Can you get that into it though?
I mean, have you ever played Mafia or Werewolf?
Yes.
It's the TV show. That's it.
Oh, right.
But with a couple of twists. But it's based like the one is they can seduce people and they go to them at night and say, you either join us or we're going to murder you tonight. So you add new traitors to the mix.
Oh.
So if they've lost a traitor, they can add a new one in and then throw them under the bus if they want and say, I told you, and sort of, so they recruit someone as a traitor and then out them as a traitor. That kind of shit could happen.
Right.
Right? So there's all kinds of twists and turns. I'm just saying, give it a try. You're talking about The Apprentice. The Traitors is also there, and it's all up there. I think you can watch it all.
Okay.
So give it a go.
I'll give it a go.
Winkleman is not in it that much. She's like Bear Winkleman.
I started watching Black Books. I'd never watched it before, and we've been watching it, and it is quite funny, actually. It's
a classic.
It's a classic. I know. People keep telling me this. That's why I've decided to watch, because you can watch the whole thing on 4 on Demand, right?
Yeah,
it's all on there,
it's not much of it.
It's 3 seasons.
3 seasons, yeah.
But they're only like half-an-hour episodes.
Yeah. But that means it's good, tight comedy.
Yeah,
it's not.
It is very funny. Yeah, it's
just a study of 3 characters. It's
over
Manny,
very quick.
Bernard, and Tamsin Greek character whose name I always forget.
Well, of course, though, you can't talk about Black Books in the same way you can't talk about Black Harry Potter anymore.
No, because the person who wrote it is insane. Well, Bill Bailey. There's a thing about Bill Bailey just recently where he was saying like he hasn't talked to him in years, but he was a great comic writer, and people are like upset that he even sort of said that he's a great comic writer. Like people are very much like, do not.
This is Twitter. This is why I think I should quit social media, because I feel like it's only a matter of time before I say a nice thing about someone and I'm removed from Twitter.
It's crazy.
I did unfollow Graham Linehan.
I did as well.
Someone
he's insane.
We talked about this about 3 years ago.
I was legacy.
I followed him in the first place because I thought.
I mean, he's literally insane now.
He is actually fully insane. Yeah.
You say he's insane. You know who is genuinely insane is the old LBC presenter Majid Nawaz.
Right.
He was arrested. Okay. He was arrested back in the day as being part of a terrorist group, if I remember rightly. And he was nicked and spent time in prison and came out a changed man. And he was like this voice of liberal reason. He's a Muslim guy in Britain on LBC talking about how, we should all get along and all this kind of stuff. The moment the COVID stuff hit, all he's talking about is the New World Order. They're trying to put vaccines in us to control us. Like, he's literally gone from this supposedly reasonable guy to fucking batshit.
It's got to be early onset dementia or something. In some of these cases.
His 40s.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's got to be some form of like hysteria or something, right? To just suddenly become so unreasonable, like almost overnight. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand how you can be like a seemingly laid back, reasonable person and then just turn into an insane person, like the drop of a hat. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure he was ever 100% all there.
Right.
Like,
you think it was like an act?
Crazy stuff.
You think he was putting it on?
I just think he was a bit of a nut. Right. People change, but they also don't change. You know what I'm saying?
I'd say people don't really change that much. They do a little bit.
They change and then they change.
You have to really want to change. And most people can't even stick to a diet, let alone changing their entire mentality or evolving their thought process or anything like that, right?
I got in trouble for saying this about 2 months ago when we were talking about the language of love,
right?
And how you need to change the way you speak to people. And
right.
I said, I think it's very, very hard for people to change.
Yeah.
And who you are is pretty much who you are, and you can work at it.
You can,
but you're still fighting
it's
against
work,
who you
though.
actually are.
It is a lot of work, yeah.
And people were like, "This is bullshit. He's wrong. People can absolutely change."
Yeah, people want to think that, though.
The thing is, like, do you think that, like, not only people don't change, okay, particularly when they're stupider and they're more stubborn, or when it is a change that requires them to be that actually affects their life, right? Like, as in, like, their relationships or their family or their region, you know. Yeah. But not only people don't change, but people don't change from generation to generation.
No,
right?
yeah.
Like, I think that you look at, like, what things were like 100 years ago. Okay, we're talking 100 years ago, a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, you know,
1923. 23.
You know, people, was it really that different? I mean, and everyone will say to me, yes, it was so different. But people went to the movies, people hung out and read books, people hung out with each other, people played board games, people dressed in clothes and ate at restaurants, and I don't know, like 99% of things were pretty similar. Yes, they didn't have certain medications. Yes, healthcare was different. Yes, the things were different, you know, certainly respect for women and these things were different, but the general day-to-day boring shit that you live in your life, gossiping about, you know, people next door, you know, having awkward relationships with people, these things are these human things that are always part of us, and also having fucking pretty radicalized views, like, or believing in religion. You know, we've been working for 400 years to undermine faith, and yet it's such a huge part of so many people's everyday lives today, and more people are being born that are religious today. It's amazing.
Praise Jesus.
That people believe. Every time I meet someone who's a big Christian believer, I feel so shocked. Or someone who believes in ghosts. Like, I'm just so shocked.
Is there much? Like, I think it's a fine line between those two groups, in all honesty.
It really is.
I think if you're given to believing in things like ghosts, you're definitely given to believing in the Holy Spirit.
I hope that you
the
like
ultimate ghost.
Believing in fairies and fanciful crap and doing all this, and good for you. And if it gives you some joy in your life, or it gives you some stability in your life, and you get good value out of it, great. But if it's just fucking making you upset and traumatized and worried that you're gonna go to hell, or someone's ghost's gonna grab you,
someone's ghost's gonna grab you.
These things they're not
Get
real.
Her. That was your whole plan. Get her.
They're just not
Get
real.
her.
Come on. So I guess what I'm saying is that I'm fascinated with the idea that yes, humans can't change, and sometimes it's because they don't want to, and sometimes it's because
they can't.
We don't live long enough, right? Like, by the time we're like 40, we've only just
how much long do I have
that,
left? I'm 47 this year.
When
you're already talking about life being over. By the time you're 40, it's over. Here's me knocking on the door of 50.
Some people you meet are mature beyond their years, right? And they know, like, you speak to some, like, you know, 18, 20-year-olds who are like, yeah, I've got my totally head screwed on. I understand everything, relationships, gossip, like Twitter, social media, how it all works. And, you know, they're like super clued in. And other people are just like the next generation of football hooligans. It's like, really? We still got them? Why are you becoming one? We're giving birth to people now, and they're growing up to become football hooligans. How? How is this happening?
Because their parents still are, and their parents still are. It's like you were saying, it's a generational thing. This stuff does get handed down, and if you don't work hard to break the cycle, then
because
you
people don't change,
yeah,
their children become them.
Yeah.
Can become them.
Easily become them. Because when you're a small child, the impressions that you have from the world are so long lasting, right? Like they're things that you at the time don't think about. You just accept as the norm. So when you grow up and become an adult, they become comforting norms for you, right? And that's why people slip into these like odd behaviors or ways of being or whatever. Like, it all stems back to how your childhood was. And even if you had a decent enough childhood, they say, like, if you weren't shown love as a child for example. Like you had a safe childhood, you had everything that you wanted, but your parents just like never spoke to you, never said they loved you or whatever. It has like a huge effect on kids, right? Because at that age, it's important to have like that unconditional love. It's important to have the safety. It's important to have routine and all these things. And if you don't have them, it fucks you up as an adult for sure.
Can we end this podcast on a poem for a change?
Yes, please.
A poem?
Yes, please.
I just wanted to mention, I went to the
I guess that's a no.
Frankenstein. I went to a Frankenstein bar.
Right.
Of
course you did.
I think that's what set
That's
me
not
off.
another poem.
Of course he
That's
fucking
not a story about a fucking
what
Frankenstein
else did you do
bar.
that was fun over the holidays? Fill us
But
in.
they had the Frankenstein movie playing, and it sort of again it reminded me of like that it's not all that. It's not like Alien, right? It's not a family movie for sure, but it's certainly like a
wake up call.
I don't know. It's not what you think it is necessarily. It's not this sort of. I don't know. It's not this.
Where did this come from?
It's definitely.
We were talking
dated.
about.
Anyway, fuck it. Fine. You do your fucking poem. You do your fucking poem.
Poem starts.
And I'll just think about this on my own.
That in the past hour of us chatting, I have managed to fish up 245 frosted rime fin tunas, which I'm going to sell for some big cheddar cheese. So thank you very much.
All right, this is a poem called "This Be the Verse" by Philip Larkin.
It's not even your own poem?
No.
What the fuck, man? You're just going to steal somebody else's creativity?
You're stealing someone else's thing.
We're talking about how. Just listen to the poem and you'll understand.
You can only use a line of it. No, you can only use one line because otherwise you're copyright.
No, it's reading a poem.
It's fair use. You can
just
use
go. Fucking go.
Listen. This is ignore the Frankenstein shit, listeners. Go back to the last thing we talked about prior to the fucking out of nowhere Frankenstein derailing, which I really wasn't expecting.
It was like never mind.
Just listen. They fuck you up, your mum and dad. They may not mean to, but they do. They fill you with the faults they had and add some extra just for you. But they were fucked up in their turn by fools in old-style hats and coats, who half the time were soppy stern and half at one another's throats. Man hands on misery to man. It deepens like a coastal shelf. Get out as early as you can, and don't have any kids yourself. Philip Larkin.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
A classic.
You got to break the cycles. That's the thing. That's the key thing. And it's work. And it's hard work to do as well, because you're breaking the cycle not only for your kids, but you're trying to break yourself out of the same cycles as well, too, right? And it's nonstop work. And most people do not want to do nonstop work. And that's why people don't tend to change very much. The end.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Peace.